I want to start off by saying I did some research last night. You were incredible. And Doc told me you're still in your 30s. From you being a pro athlete to sports agent to host and producer of Premier Sports Weekly, CEO of the Herzliya Sports Company, owning partial credit in the Bnei Herzliya, and now working for Transworld Business and hoping to start your own pro tennis league. Was this like always your plan, or did you just put yourself in the best places? Because doing all this so young is just incredible. How did you get here?
I think I just look for good opportunities, and they come along when you're working and trying to accomplish one thing, and you just kind of transition into the next. Not like a succession plan or, my goal to always have this be the next thing in 2 years or this is the next thing in 3 years. It just kind of develops, and you take those good opportunities when they're there, and you learn as much as you can about how you can, just thrive in what you're doing. So like working in sports, it has a lot of different areas that you can work in. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of numerous roles, but there's a lot that you can get done, and it's just about, I think, also knowing your personality and what role fits best for you. And sometimes things in life change too, so you have to adjust. You have to adapt to new roles and new opportunities. And if you're a goal-oriented person, it works out that you can be entrepreneurial, but it's not for everyone. So I'll say that.
All right, well, that's amazing. Props to you because you built yourself a fantastic resume over these past few years. I do want to touch on the B'nai Herzliya. How did it feel really being the first Black man to own partial credit in that, and what really inspired you to go out and do that?
Uh, I mean, I know there are other Black men or Black women that have been partial owners in uh, professional sports teams. So, definitely props to them for doing it before me. But as far as like in Israel or like even in the European market, I was one of the first, and it just felt like, again, it was just the next thing. Like it didn't feel like it was a race thing or anything like that. It was just, it's going to be another challenge. And it's a surprise to people, I'm sure, if they meet me or see a photo of me as to like who is really doing this or who is trying to accomplish this or even who they're communicating with. Half the time they don't know. They just assume what someone might look like. So like it started to hit me a little later as I saw like numerous celebrities or like current NBA players start to invest in international professional teams. And I just started saying, I did that 2 or 3 years ago. So like it's really good that I was one of the first, but now it's something where we take advantage of the other people that are involved and start to see where we can work with each other and like put our teams in the best position to, for one, become more of a global brand, but to help each other be successful and go over each other's experiences as to, this worked for me, so maybe it won't work for you, but you're in a different area. The same as like NBA teams, NFL teams, like everything doesn't work the same for everyone because they're not in the same market. So we're gracious to be in a really good market in Israel, and Israel, the people there love basketball. So that's another key for being in that location.
Okay, and I know that I saw that you promoted your teams. What are more intricate details that go into managing that team?
Well, because it wasn't like a brand new team, management was already in place. I worked with our current general manager for years up until the investment was even made into becoming a partial owner. So like it was already capable of running itself, having a good structure, and that's one of the keys. But one thing I wanted to bring was the American mindset that we have of sports, And, Americans, we look at sports as a business, and, other locations overseas, it's a lot more about the community. So, Americans, we're just so key on like how to profit. Like, how can
Yeah.
we make money? How can we make money on this? How can we make money on this? And that was my first mindset when I first went in. Like, hey, what can we do to make money? And then stepping back years later, it's just like I really want the community to be involved and have something that they're proud of. Like, you want your fans to be proud of their team. And like, you don't win every game, you don't win a championship every year. So like, you got to give more to your fan base and like create loyalty, but also you need something to bring in new fans as well.
Okay. And I know that you're starting your own pro tennis league. We've only seen you so far manage basketball. Can you tell me like what's inspiring you or your goals for that and how you're really going through that process? Do you feel like you're ready to take on a new team?
Absolutely ready. I wouldn't start it if I wasn't ready. What really got me into it was I started playing during the pandemic because it was one of the few things people could do at the gym where you could be distant from each other, when that was like what we needed to have done in order to even do anything. So like, I really got into it, and just the mindset of wanting to improve at something. It's kept me playing over the years, and then like, I just became obsessed with playing. So I like to be around high level sports and high level athletes. So the best thing for me is to build what I want. Like, if I'm not someone that's going to say, oh, like, I want to go work for the ATP, or I want to go work at the US Open. Like, I want to create what I want to see. So that's what drives me to, go to these tournaments and, recruit and organize a tournament to the way that I want to see it run. Is like, I want it to be entertaining. I want it to be high level, but in my area, in the Boston area, I want to bring something that we don't currently have. So in order to do that, I have to do something that people aren't doing.
Okay, before I even get to my last question for you, I just want to say that is such a great mindset to have, especially being an entrepreneur, creating what you want to see. So I really admire that. Thank you for saying that because that's some really good advice, especially for younger kids who are hoping to get into that business. My last question for you is because you've switched through so many jobs, especially being a pro athlete yourself, do you feel like the athletes are a way for you to live through the sport and still get to experience it in that type of way?
Um, it is, but in a certain way, you're already living it if you work in it, just depending on your role. Like, it's great to work in the sport because you're around it. So of course that kind of gives you part of what you're looking for. But if you play anything or do anything at a high level, you miss a certain piece of it. Like, you miss the competitive part of it. So like, there are other parts of my life where that works. Like, as a business broker, I say, maybe my challenge is to do a deal of this size, and like, maybe I have a number in mind, or, as an avid tennis player but not a professional, being around the sport and seeing different things that they do, and like the love they have for the sport or the way they train, like that gives me something different too, and like, it gives me a different love of it, because if you're not putting your all into something, then you're not going to get everything you need out of it.
Yeah.
So it does give me a lot to be around the athletes, but playing consistently also helps me have the competitive part of it.
Okay. Well, that was everything I had for you. Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. I do want to ask if it's okay if I post this on my LinkedIn.
Sure,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you and good luck with your tennis team.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
You too.